If you're an electrician, don't use these tools. All right, so throughout the years, I've used a lot of tools. Used a lot of really crappy ones to start out with. Broke a lot, blew up a lot, lost a lot, had to constantly rebuy, try other people's tools and be like, oh crap, mine sucks, I'm gonna go get that now. Here are the tools that I cannot stand, and some things to consider about each ones. I'll bring up the ones that I do like in their replacement. So the first thing to start out, when you buy a tape measure, don't buy a tape measure that is this thin. One of these crappy little Craftsman 16s, and don't buy tape measures that just stay out on their own and that require you to do something to pull them back in. That's just a preference thing for me. It annoys the living hell out of me. Like, this thing's tight all the time. I want something that I can just yank out and it slides back in. And if I want to keep it held, I can lock the chuck, make it hold. So yeah, here's another one. Now this one's okay because it's the right, it's like thicker, you know, and it's got numbers on the front, numbers on the back, still holds out. I hate that. I want it to retract. How do you even, yeah, you have to pull the button to get it to retract. I don't know, I hate that. Again, just a preference kind of thing. This thing is 30 feet, so it's gonna be bulky. I also don't really like bulky tape measures, you know, like something that's big. I'd rather have something that's kind of like more form-fitting in my hand, unless you have like big 7-foot tall banana hands kind of things, then it doesn't matter, grab a 30. In its place, what I like instead are these. Look how compact they are compared to this big beast. A little bit bigger than that one, but both of these are 25 feet. Everything I use, 25 feet. 25 feet gets me everywhere that I need to be. If I'm in a bigger environment and I'm going to like 30, 35 feet, I can just slide it out to 25, mark something, and then add another 5 feet to it. So I don't really need a 30-foot tape measure, but some people do like them. Usually, if I'm in a big commercial place, I'm bringing out my 100-foot tape, or I'm bringing out a laser distance finder, and I'm setting things up and getting very precise measurements on that. But what I like about these tape measures is they're small, they're form-fitting in my hand. I like that this little one has a notch in it, so I can hold it. I don't have to like lock the thing down. So if I'm trying to measure something, I can just keep my finger there and I'll hold on to it. I love that it's got numbers on the front and numbers on the back. And this thing is a magnetic tip. So if I wanted to stick this to a piece of metal, it'll actually hold on to that piece of metal. So if I'm working up over my head, I don't have to like have both hands up there. I can have one side free. That's why I like these. Now both the Fat Max and this stud, notice how wide the tape is. The actual tape itself compared to this thing. If I try to use this and stretch it out, it can't hold up its strength. It gets a little limp at the tip. So with these, I can go up to, what is this one? I think this one's a 13-foot break, meaning 13 feet. I can hold this thing out. This is all the way across my studio. I'm sitting here at 9 feet and I'm already hitting my wall. So I love that because we're always working up over our head, and I don't want this thing when I'm up on a ladder to constantly be falling and not be able to stand out straight. Same thing with this one. This one's just a little bit different design. The actual tape of it is more rigid, durable, whereas these Fat Maxes, a lot of the older style, they're like super thin. So if you get it caught on something, it just rips the whole tape. Thing sucks back up in there, and now you got to throw it away and go buy another $25 tape measure. But the tape measure thing is like, get a good tape measure, either the Fat Max or the Milwaukee wide blade with the magnet. Some of them come with like magnetic kits you can add. Some of them have magnets, some of them don't. Some people hate magnets because they're tired of it sticking on everything and they're in a commercial environment and it just like naturally sticks. But I personally, it's kind of like a multi-tool to me, like having multiple things in one tool. I like having a magnet on it, and I like having the tape on the front and the back read. Just a personal preference. Plus, they're more stout. I think if I drop this thing, it's gonna shatter. Those things will take damage. Next up on the list is your hammers. Don't bring a hammer like this to a job site. If you're starting out as apprentice day one, you will get ridiculed for the rest of your career for bringing mom's hammer. So we call this mom's hammer. It's usually the hammer that your mom had in her drawer in your kitchen, right? For us 80s kids, I think every mom had this little like weird ball peen hammer thing, which no one ever used. And then a normal tip. It's like, put a claw on it. Like we're doing construction. We're not like, like hitting metal and shaping metal and stuff. Like, and what world would you actually use this as a professional? So don't buy a hammer like that. Next, don't get a hammer that has a wooden handle. So hammers that are good quality have a great balance to them. They have a good pivot point of where the balance is. This thing is super top heavy and it has no insulation for your hand. So as you're banging, all of that vibration gets translated into your hand. And after a while, you're just gonna have a sore hand. These things suck. And this is gonna break. Like this is just a cheap piece of crap wooden hammer. Don't get wooden hammers, get a steel hammer. You're not gonna break that thing. You can beat the living crap out of anything, and sometimes we do. You'll break something like this. It's just a piece of crap and it's got a glued on head. And the other thing is the claw angle. This kind of a hammer annoys the living hell out of me. Get something with a flat handle. So let's look at this. Probably every electrician on the planet has or has had this hammer. It's an S-wing. It's got a nice rubber handle. Look at how much longer it is. So you can get lots and lots of leverage. Granted, this is only a 16-ounce hammer, so like the weight of it's pretty light. This is a 22. I personally like kind of 22, 24. I use a 28 sometimes if I'm like really swinging. But typically like I find, in a residential setting doing like little stuff here and there, I like a 22 to a 24. So that being said, you got to think about the weight of the thing, but look how there's no seam of anything glued. This metal goes all the way down into here. They just wrap it with some like rubbery, insulated stuff. So it dampens that vibration every time you hit, but there's no point in this that's going to break off like there is on this one. It's just stupid. But also look at the claw. This claw, you can use it to claw into something, to hit. You can get underneath things and dig in and pry really easily with it. This thing, you can't, you gotta turn your hand to try to get into stuff. It's just stupid. Don't do that. Look at the difference in the faces too. Faces are huge. You want a big surface area to hit with. Really, you want something that when you're swinging hard and you've got your whole arm into it, you have a higher chance of actually hitting the thing because you have a lot bigger surface. And then we got stuff like this. Look how big this one is. Now this hammer is a stiletto. I know people out there that love stilettos, you're gonna be so mad at me for not knowing that. But look at that, I love that much surface area. This is aluminum too. So this is super lightweight. It's the same size as this one, but I can feel this one's way heavier. So this is a lot lighter size. So, even something like this that you're probably gonna pay $250 for is really awesome. So notice the flat claw. This one's not quite as flat, but it's still way flatter than this craziness. Don't buy hammers like this. Go out and actually buy a real good, expensive hammer because you're gonna use it every single day and you're gonna regret not doing that. All right, next up for things that I hate are screwdrivers like this. What are you doing? Come on now. You're tradesman, you're professional. Go get some good stuff. All right, what I don't like about these is I hate any kind of, this is made from Ideal. I hate how their insulation is loose in my hand. This thing moves and slides, and I hate that. I hate feeling like every time I turn it, I can squeeze and it's just this loose thing and I just want to throw it away. It's essentially one of these hammers, they just put some insulation on it. Don't buy this cheap crap. Buy something that's nice. One thing to consider, these are Klein's. I use all Klein screwdrivers. Insulation's solid, feels really comfortable in your hand. They're wider, so it actually it turns more for every time you turn. Not a whole lot, but it does turn slightly more. Just the radius alone of these tools, the skinnier it is, the more you're having to do this. This one, you can turn the tool a lot more like that. Plus it just feels solid. I have beat on these things over and over. I don't recommend the multi-tool one that you beat on though, because this thing will jam up in there and you'll end up breaking it. Take care of stuff like this. But if I were to beat one of these with a hammer, because I'm trying to get into something, I'm gonna shatter them. Plus they're hard, they just suck. I hate everything about them. So don't bring these play school, Lowe's, whatever, Craftsman, kindergarten shit to your tool site or to your job sites. Get good stuff. This is Klein branded. Klein, if it ain't Klein, it ain't mine. Huge fan of Klein, so bring Klein stuff. All right, next up, we've got a pair of lineman's pliers, but this is a multi-use lineman's plier. What I hate about it is it's so short. I was just talking about Klein. Klein, I love you. I hate this tool. I really do. Like, ever since I got it, every time I use it, I find that I'm like irritated by it, but for everything about it, I hate. So when you get a pair of pliers, what you want is, look at the handle difference on this. These are longer. So Klein makes normal lineman's pliers as well. I just don't have them, they're in my truck. Sorry, Klein. But that extra inch that you have there, every extra inch helps. So it gives you more leverage. It allows you to really cinch down and cut things a lot easier. When you try to cut with something like this, you have no handle. So you can barely cut anything. The handles aren't long enough, so you can't get it apart as far. And when you squeeze down, you don't have any leverage behind it, so it's really hard to cut like number 8, number 6, whereas this thing will cut it no problem. So get yourself some high leverage lineman's pliers. You can also use them as a hammer because they're heavier, they're fatter. This thing's kind of like a needle nose, sort of. You can't use this as a hammer at all. Now, be careful when you're using lineman's as a hammer because you can mess that little pin up. So if you hit things with this side of it, you can screw it up and then you're never gonna be able to get it open and close ever again. It's not a WD-40 kind of thing. You just mashed the pin and changed the shape of it, so now it won't open and close. But I do love that they are putting multiple different features in a tool. Absolutely love that. This has got strippers, it's got the tip of a lineman's pliers, but it's got kind of the profile of like a needle nose. It's still got bolt cutters in it. It's got a crimper inside of it, but again, with crimpers, I want longer handles. I want the leverage to be able to squeeze. And I just don't like that this is so small profile. And the stripping side of it is all the way off to one side. So like I can't ever really see like where I'm stripping. I don't know. I think I'm trying to find more reasons why I don't like it than I actually don't like it. This is the only Klein tool I don't like. Out of their entire catalog, library, everything, the one thing that I don't like. So I don't recommend that you get these. Next up, these loppers. Milwaukee, if there's ever a tool that I want to throw at your face, throw through the Milwaukee sign and break it, it's these. Dude, I hate these things more than anything on the planet. The handle's too short, you can't cut anything with it. You're meant to put a conductor in there and lop down on it, but you can't cut anything that's of any size because look, just to get something in there that's like, I don't know, like 1/0 or something like that, like you have to have the tool all the way apart, so you're like sitting here trying to crunch down on it and your hands aren't far enough back to really get leverage like you would on like a large side of loppers. It's just a pointless tool. I think it's silly. Like I can accomplish, look at how far I have to spread my hands apart to cut something. Look at this. I have the same ability to cut with this tool. This is a pointless tool in my opinion. So I hate it. Really, if you're cutting like number 6, number 8, something like that, sure, okay. But most of the time you're gonna be cutting it with this. You could probably get some like number 1, number 2, number 4, stuff like that in here, and that would do the trick. But anytime I've got large conductors, I always just use this. It's a ratcheting cutter. So like, why not have a ratchet cutter? Yeah, they're expensive, but like think about once you actually get into cutting like, I don't know, 300, 350, anytime you got like large conductors, it's the same tool, it just ratchets. There's no need to like sit and like try to break your hand using this when you can just have a ratchet cutter. So I hate these things. Seriously, I don't even know why I have that. I know why I have it. It was because it was sent to me for free. And I just have it, but there's like rust. It's been just sitting out in the weather. I don't care about it. Stupid tool. Stupid tool. All right, next up, levels. Every electrician, every person that wears tools or does any kind of trade work should own a level. Far too many people out there just hanging stuff up and not checking, just throwing it up and, oh, it looks good. No, dude, use a level on everything you install ever, always, ever. Always. If I'm putting a receptacle in and I put a plate on, put a level up, make sure the thing's level. Like if everything that you do is level, it's craftsmanship. It's actually caring about what you're doing rather than just like doing stuff. So that being said, don't get a level that has no magnets on it. But like, you know, this one, at least it's got a really weak magnet, this cobalt. Don't buy anything cobalt ever. Joke. But it's at least got like a magnet on it. Why I hate this style of magnet is because it's plastic. It's plastic. What's holding the bubbles in is plastic. And there's a seam that goes all the way down the plastic. So when you drop this, the thing starts to pull apart and break. And it's just like, I can't drop this. Like, I know it's a level. You don't want to like get it all messed up. You want it to be stout, but like, I should be able to drop it because I'm a tradesman. And this is what I do all day, every day. It's a rough environment. We drop things, we hit things, we break things. You can give me some piece of crap like this. Like, this is for your dad's garage that he's never gonna use. This is for the garbage. This is really for the garbage. Like, look how, wow, this one won't pop out. But these things, yeah, like they just pop out in your hand. It's just stupid. Don't buy cheap crap like this. Pay some money, go get you a Klein, check this torpedo level out. This whole thing is a single piece of metal. I can throw this and get it to stick through a wall and it's gonna be just as reliable as ever. Nothing wrong with it. It's got a little curve on there, so if you're bending conduit, you have this one part that can get out of the way. It's got a rounded, well, not rounded, I guess it's like a little notched edge so it can sit on things that are round and it can hold itself up there. But the magnets on this thing, bro, they're so incredibly strong. Let me see. Yeah, like this one, like with one magnet holding on, look how strong that thing is. And it's got 4 of them. So when you stick this on a metal can, chunk, like it sticks up there. It's super solid. If I break it, or if I drop it, it's not going to break. And I know I've dropped it so many times off like 16-foot A-frame ladders all the way down to the concrete floor. I'm like, my level. And then I go get it and I'm like, oh yeah, it's Klein. It's like the best, it's solid. And the bubbles are, isolated from like being damaged or anything. Plus they give you 4 options. You got 0 degrees, you got 90 degrees, you got 45 degrees and 30 degrees because we bend 30-degree bends and 45-degree bends. But dude, this is stellar. Yes, it's more expensive, but you're gonna buy 6 of these and pay more money every time you try to buy them than just getting one that you're never gonna have to replace unless you leave it on a job site on the side of a tap can or something. And then somebody's like, ooh, mine. Get yourself a good level. All right, last but definitely not least is anything Milwaukee. No, I'm just kidding. I love Milwaukee power drills. This is my favorite damn drill in the world. What I hate are non-magnetic tipped bits. So when I go to screw something in, what the? Come on, man. Are you serious? Trying to work up over your head? What are we doing here? Why would anybody make this? This is stupid. Why would you not put a magnet on it? Check this out. Stick this thing in there. Not only, like, you can adapt these however you want. Actually, this one's magnetic too. I don't even need to have this other one on there. This whole thing, there's a magnet inside of it. It's magnetic. Look at this. Pop, sticks in there, doesn't fall out. Check it out, the tip's magnetic. Holy crap, I can sit here behind, I don't have to worry, this thing ain't gonna fall out. Like, why would you not use magnetic tip everything all the time? Why would you even make something like this? It's what it is it's cheap and it allows them to put it in a little bit kit so that they can get that homeowner market where they don't know better. They can just sell them because they just don't know better. Magnetic tipped everything. And that even goes for your extensions. Just the extension. This thing is magnetic here. So it holds this in. This is magnetic, so it holds this in. Like, magnetic, everything. Get magnetic everything. Your screwdrivers too, if you can, there are some multi-tools like this. Klein makes one that's fully magnetic, so this part's magnetic. The tips stay in it magnetically, whereas this one is held in place because of this little ball. So you don't really need to have them. There's some things where they actually make the tips of the screwdrivers magnetic. A lot of Klein stuff is, and I love it because again, you're putting a screw on the end of this, and sometimes you're in a place where you can't fit your hand and you're trying to like get inside of like a shallow groove, and you want that thing to just to stay on there. Like, why wouldn't you do that? But there are little magnetizer kits that you can get where you can like run this thing through something and it aligns everything magnetically. But just using magnets, like, come on, man. So that's my list of tools that I hate. Please leave some comments below. Show me some of the tools you hate. Maybe I'll make another follow-up video because there's a lot more tools that I hate. I just had to kind of narrow it down to like the simple ones, but we could get into like the very complex, very specific tools out in the industry that I hate and the things about them. Maybe like crap on some brands for a little while. Anyways, love you crazy people. I'll see you in the next one.